Once upon a time, in a lush green forest, there lived a cunning and clever fox. Now this fox was known throughout the woodland for his intelligence and sly tricks. One hot summer afternoon, our clever fox was out hunting for food. He had been searching for quite some time, but the sun was blazing, making him and all the forest animals extremely thirsty and hungry. As he strolled through the trees, he suddenly came across a beautiful vineyard. It was a patch of land with rows upon rows of grapevines, laden with ripe, juicy grapes. The fox's mouth began to water as he gazed at the grapes hanging from the vines. They were plump and luscious and looked absolutely delicious. The fox couldn't resist the temptation. He had to have those grapes. He walked closer and saw that the grapes were growing high up, just out of his reach. The fox stood on his hind legs and stretched out his paws, but they were too high for him to grab. Maybe if I jump I can reach them, he thought. So the fox took a few steps back and ran towards the vine, jumping as high as he could. But alas, he just ended up landing back on the ground with a soft thud. The fox shook himself and looked at the grapes, which seemed to be mocking him with their unreachable height. Maybe if I stand on something, he said, looking around. He found a low-hanging branch and stood on it, then stretched out his paws again. But still the grapes seemed just out of his reach. He tried and tried again, but the more he tried, the higher the grapes seemed to grow. The poor fox was getting tired. His legs began to ache, and his stomach rumbled with hunger. He sat down under the vine, feeling defeated and upset. The grapes seemed to be taunting him, dangling just beyond his grasp. "Oh, why can't I reach those grapes?" he cried out in frustration. Then the fox had an idea, took a deep breath, stood up and walked away from the vineyard. He strolled through the forest, pretending that he didn't care about the grapes at all. He even hummed a little tune to show how happy he was. After a while, when he was far away from the vineyard, the fox stopped and turned around. He looked back at the vineyard and sighed. "Oh, those grapes look nice, but they're probably sour anyway," he said to himself. "Who would want to eat them?" With that, the fox flicked his tail and continued walking into the forest. Although deep down inside he was disappointed and hungry, the fox pretended to be happy and proud. He pretended that he didn't want those grapes, that they weren't worth his effort, and that he had bigger things to worry about. He wanted to convince himself that it was okay that he couldn't have them. As the sun began to set, the fox went back to his den without any food. That night, he dreamed of juicy, ripe grapes, which made him feel even sadder about not being able to get them. The next day, the fox went out again to find food. He searched and searched, but all he could think about were those delicious grapes. He couldn't focus on anything else. Finally, he decided to go back to the vineyard one last time. This time, instead of trying to jump and grab the grapes, the fox did something else. He started digging a small hole near the base of the grapevine. He dug and dug until he was close enough to the roots of the vine. Then he put his paws on the roots and pulled. To his surprise, the grapevine started to come out of the ground. The fox continued pulling, and the entire grapevine, with all its juicy grapes, came crashing down. The fox's eyes sparkled with delight. He had done it. He quickly started eating the grapes, enjoying every bite. They were sweet, fresh, and very satisfying after all his efforts. From that day on, the fox never tried to get something that was out of his reach without using his intelligence. And that's the story of how the clever fox outsmarted the grapes. Before we wrap up today's story, I want to ask you a question. Did the fox really not want the grapes? Why do you think he tried to convince himself otherwise? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below. If you enjoyed listening to this story, don't forget to like and share it with your friends. Subscribe for more amazing stories, and hit the bell icon to never miss out on new uploads. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.